Yes, sir.
You guys supposed to be Texas A&M?
Yeah. I just wrote it quick. Yeah. I'm going to be doing colleges for my kids for SSR. So how to apply to colleges, how to, where do you register, what do you need, what do they do, what's philanthropy, what's sororities and fraternities, what kind of scholarships are there, for both samurai, just anything, any kind of questions they have. So at my college, I used to work in the admissions office and our Center for Christian Teaching. So I used to go out and talk to high school kids about going to Cal State Fullerton and what does it mean, and eligibility index and SAT scores and ACT scores, and where do you apply for FAFSA and CSU Mentor, and just everything and anything between. So because they're applying for colleges within the next month, I mean, early acceptance is early. So just start going over that with them. My parents never knew. I never had any teachers that did that for me. My parents didn't even push me to go to college. It wasn't until my girlfriend's mom and dad that kind of was like, hey, this is, let's go and check out a college. And I was like, all right, so, what do you apply for? How do you apply for it? What does it mean to get accepted? What's a impacted school? What's early registration? What's priority? What's the benefits of, signing up for classes in the morning? What do schedules look like? Everything and anything because by the time you get out of college, by the time you get out of high school, they don't pull you into the office anymore. You sign up for your class. You don't sign up for it, you're not going to school. So, what does financial aid cost? How much does books cost for a semester? College life, living at the dorm. Do you have a meal plan? Do you live in an apartment? How do you get an apartment with friends? How do you get chosen to live with a person? There's so much more that goes into it than you realize. Living outside of school, living inside of school. Going out of state, like going to Arizona compared to living in California. What's the cost of fees on those? What do you do after you get your AA? If you transfer from JP to, there's so much. There's a lot to go over. So I said, which questions you guys want me to go over? Which colleges? So I'm going to do some of those for them. I'm going to do probably all of them. Yes. You have some online classes. Online classes is a good way to go too. You do have some online classes that refer to. It depends. Some of the classes you can get away with being them online because the lecture is really not that important, or it can be considered. But doing like a math class online it's hard because you got in the material. You have to ask the professors because some professors allow it and some professors don't. Majority of the professors that I had did not. You cannot record. You cannot. No. For whatever reason, I don't know. I never did because I was always on, time schedules. But video recording was unacceptable. You couldn't do that. There's just a wide variety. I had classrooms that were just like 11 kids. I had 11 kids in my class. That was it. And then I was in other classes that had 350. You're known as a number. Cool.
Yes,
Cool. So it just all depends. Yes. So just everything. What college is more, or what's better to go to for engineering? What college is better to go to for engineering? What are some of the colleges known for? Like what's ASU known for? What's Cal State Fullerton known for? Sports athletics. What does a typical day for a college athlete look like? It's that kind of thing. How do you get scholarships in college? Where do you go to apply for jobs? What happens when you get out of college? It's real life stuff that you really don't realize until you're thrusted into that. I remember my first day of class as a freshman at Cal State Fullerton. It was sometime in August. It was early August. My first class was a calculus 3 level. It's a 3rd level calculus course because I skipped some calculus class because I was done with them. I sat next to a 45-year-old man when I was 18. You don't get that here. You're sitting next to your peers. I sat next to 40. He worked for Boeing as an electrical engineer. And I got to know him well because I'm like, it was so overwhelming. And then because Aguilar, she had us go in our seats, so it had our list of names. So I was sitting right next to him. And I remember sitting in the class and looking at her And she was teaching me calculus, and I didn't understand her because she was foreign, and I couldn't understand what she was saying. And it was like my first day of class, sitting next to a 45-year-old man at 7 o'clock in the morning. First day of call, I still remember like the back of my hand. I was wearing a white shirt, khaki pants. Like I still remember because it was that vivid for me, and I was like, oh man. My second class was a history class. I sat in the lecture hall that was in front of 375 kids in the back. Then I went to another class that was philosophy of sex and love. It was a class full of guys or full of girls, and there was like 4 guys. First day of college blew my mind. And it was like, okay, I got to do this. And so I taught myself calculus the first year because I didn't understand what she was saying. And then you have the professors, because as a professor, you need a master's or doctorate. You don't need to teach credentials. So they don't teach professors how to teach. So if you go to college right now and you go all the way to get your degree, you get your master's, and you apply for a position, yeah, you could be a teacher, but you have no idea how to teach. And that's how some of these guys work. And you look at them like, you would ask me a question, oh, Mr. Aguilar, how do you do this? Like, it's right there. Why don't you see it? You're like, oh, that was, I had failed one of my first tests. It was a class of 20 kids. I failed the first test. And it was very like, wow. I was walking out of class and just bummed out of it, because one of the things that it kind of hurt me was I studied my butt off. And I'm a good studier, and I got 3.9 GPA in high school. I mean, my GPA in college was like a 3.2. I was busting my butt, and I came into a class. I studied for like 3 days straight. I go into the class and I failed it. Not by like a 50%. I got like a 23%. And I studied. How much of an ego, like, I can be like, okay, I really didn't study. I got that grade. Okay. When I walked out of the classroom, you only get 3 tests. So if you don't do 100% of the last 2 tests, you're not passing the class. So I remember walking out and just kind of walking and just kind of like, and my professor walked by me. He's like, Aguilar, how you doing? I'm like, I don't know why I failed it. He goes, it's clearly you don't understand this material. You should drop out of my class. Basically, you fail at life, you need to get out. You fail. I'm like, I can't fail this class. I need to have it for my degree. It's clearly you don't understand the material. I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to pass my class. Came back and got the second highest grade in the class, because I was going to show him that I wasn't going to be brought down. No one's going to tell me I can't pass your class. You kidding me? Please. I showed him, but it was it's an ego. They're not going to let you retest. Usually the cutoff days the funny thing, you'll find out the cutoff days to get it out of a class. So the first day of class, you'll have kids standing around. By the first test, you'll have half your class gone. Highest dropout rate is freshman year of college, about a 65% dropout rate. And that's why their financial aid doesn't give you your whole thing. They don't give you $20,000. They'll give you 6, 7. Second year, they'll give you 8 to 10. Your 11th year, they'll give you 12 to 15. And then they want you to finish up, so they're going to try to give you whatever you need to finish up. But it's incredible. I never changed my major, but I knew people change their major 7, 8 times. College textbooks at a freshman or one semester. So you have 2 semesters, like our first and second semester. I mean, easily cost $600-$700. And some of the books you don't even open up. There were several books I never opened up. So it's just going over like that. Where do you go? How'd you after I had that freshman year, what do you do to pick your classes? RateMyProfessor.com. Find out if he's a hard teacher or an easy teacher. I understand him. I didn't understand him. A lot of people in the math department didn't speak English. Sergi, Professor Sergi, Czechoslovakian, didn't understand him. Coolest teacher, Bonsang, still Dr. Bonsang, coolest guy, white guy. He would dress up as Euclid. He was cool. I mean, you kind of learn. It was funny because I got to the point where I would see my professor so much that I would go drinking with him. We'd pull out our math, and I'm like, "Can you tutor me right now?" He's like, "Well, I got to go home." I'm like, "Can we go to Yard House? I'll buy you a drink." Yeah, let's go. Doing math at Yard House. Yeah. It was crazy. I'm not saying we got jacked up, but I took the time to actually like make an arrangement. And then he saw how much I was improving, and he's like, "Okay, you're good." Had to retake a course 2 times because it was insanely difficult. Proving calculus was extremely difficult to me, but I mean, you got to get through it. And this is just from a math perspective. If you're going to go into like a history, you got to get used to writing papers. My master's degree, I was writing 10-page papers a week. 10-page papers. I'm a math major. I hated writing papers, and I was writing 10-page papers a week easily. So it's just, they don't care. College don't care. They got your money. You either show up or don't show up. Good luck, It's incredible. It's incredible. I have crazy stories about that. So, sorry, way off topic. Got to be able to move our thing over 1 unit over 5 units down, 1 2 3 4 5, and then 1 over 1 2 3 4 5. 1 over 1 2 3 4. I made a boo boo here. Incredible stuff, though. I had a great time in college. You really find yourself in college. And I'll be telling you guys these stories when you guys are seniors. I'll be showing you the tips and tricks. We'll go over here now. The next thing we want to be able to do is find our points, and then we want to be able to reduce it. So I was being 2 negative 1. We'll do the next one. I'll do these really fast just so we can move on. J prime is going to be 3 negative 1. And then H prime is going to go 1 negative 4. And then K prime is going to be 4 negative 4. We're applying our dilation directly after this, where it's going to be a reduction by a half. What's the other way I can multiply my numbers by? What's the other value? 0.5 would be another way you can do it as well. I'm definitely okay, whichever one you want to use. We would take all of our points now. I'm going to apply them. So it's going to be, I is going to be half of 2, which is 1. Half of 1 is negative a half. I'm going to leave them as fractions for this one just so I can see it a little bit better. This is 3 1/2. This will be negative a half. You probably got 0.5 and 1.5. H is going to be a half. 4 is going to be negative 2. And K is going to be 2 negative 2. So when we graph these, we want to be able to see where they're going to meet up with 1 over down a half, over 1 1/2, down a half, over a half, down 2, and over 2, down 2. This is our final image. Is this what you guys got? Yeah. Is it a reduction? Yeah. Absolutely. Do me a favor, try number 2 for me. I'm going to kind of do these at the same time, giving you guys a little leeway. Oh, skip that. Whoa, what are you doing? This will go off your paper. My apologies, but I just want to show you guys an enlargement and a reflection with the dilation. So I just wanted to make this one slightly easier. It already gives you your coordinate points, so we really don't have to worry about that. But what are we trying to reflect it on? What axis? X-axis. So it's our horizontal line that is represented here. And how do I reflect it? What type of method should we use? Or can you describe to me what you use? Matt? Count from one point to the x-axis and then count that same distance across. So if we had to do R is 1, 2 distance, 2 lanes away. So we're going to go 1, 2 would be for R prime. Absolutely, that's a perfect way of describing it. P is going down 3, 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3 is going to be P prime. And then Q is going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is Q prime. So connecting all my points, if we were to fold it on that line, it would give us an exact mirror. It's kind of like the sideways picture of like an eyes of a jack-o'-lantern. Halloween's around the corner. What's up? Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we got to be able to label and write down all of our points. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Our R prime is at -1, -2. P prime is -4, -3. And Q prime is going to be -1, -5. What do we call the middle image? What do we used to call that? Middle image, there was also a special name I gave you yesterday.
Center.
Oh, center dilation different. Intermediate image? Intermediate image? So we do have that to work with as well. We need to apply our R. The scale factor in this case is going to be 2. So we're going to take all of our points and multiply them by 2. So R prime is going to be -2, -4. P is going to be -8, comma, -6. Q is going to be -2, -10. So we're going to graph our points from here. It's going to kind of look a little weird for us because it's going to be a little bit off our papers. I'm going to kind of make it a little bit thicker for you guys so you guys can see it. Back 2, down 4. That's our R prime, R double prime. So these are all doubles, our final image. Then we're going to go ahead and go to back 8, 1, 2, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Down 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just say 6 is there. This is P prime, P double prime. And then our last one is going over to down 10, right? Over to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to say that this is my final. It's definitely an enlargement. Okay. Definitely enlargement. That's not enlargement. I know it is. Did I do that right? No, it's not. It's all right. We'll leave it. We'll leave it like that. It's definitely an enlargement. Is it sprinkling outside again or no?
No, there's people with umbrellas. It's raining.
It's raining. It's sprinkling. Sprinkling. You guys are sad. I'm happy about the weather, man. Woo! Woo! Yeah. Going through puberty still. Okay, here we go. Now, these are the ones we kind of want to be able to see here. So let's look at these type. Now, these are the types of problems we want to look over and practice with. So we have the 5 that are here with us, and we got to be able to determine what the values are going to provide. Now, looking at this first one here, we want to be able to see where it's mapping to. We're going to go from AB to B, or we're going to, let me kind of explain this again. We're going from ABC triangle to PQR triangle. So we're going from 1 to 2, if that helps out. Okay? Because the way that we describe it is important as well, because if you do it the other way, it's important, it's going to be wrong. Okay? So looking at this, what are the ways we can actually do this? Can you describe? Rotation? Not necessarily a rotation. A rotation that would be 180 degrees would give me a value.
It wouldn't be exact.
It wouldn't be exact. It would actually look kind of, I think it would look like this. Let's see if it's going to kind of give us something like this. It's going to be off, right? So we don't say rotation. So what else can we use? What else can we say it is? A reflection. So it looks like we're going to get a reflection that's going to reflect it something like this. And then what are we going to do? Translation. So we're going to slide them down. So it's going to match it down here. Okay. That's the best way to kind of do it. What's another way? Very similar to what we just said. What's another way we can do this? How about a translation down first that will give us down here and then reflection? Which way works? Both. Both. Whichever way you choose to, I'm okay with it. As long as you're able to explain to me what you're doing, I'm okay with that. So there's technically 2 answers with this. Which one do you guys want to do? The reflection to translation or translation to reflection? Okay, reflection to translation. So let's go ahead and describe that. We got to be able to reflect it. So the first translation or transformation is a reflection. And what type do we call that? A reflection on the Y. Why do we call it a reflection on the Y? It's reflecting on the Y-axis. Our Y line here is the mirror, the line of symmetry with it. So we're going to flip it onto this side first. So we're going to say reflection across what axis? Y. Beautiful. On the y-axis. And again, just how we did with the one that before, we got to be able to count the distances over. So we're going to count the numbers that are between the line of symmetry. We're going to count our C prime, so it's going to be 1 over C prime. A seems to be 5. This is A prime. And then our B is going to go over 2, B prime. So we're going to be able to color in those. So that's our first transformation. What do we call this part? What do we call this image? Middle image, or the intermediate image, middle image. So then from here, what should I do? Translation. So let's write, second step would be a translation. Oh, I made a boo-boo somewhere, sorry. You caught it. B is wackos. Should be one more over, right? Where did I make a mistake here?
It's on 3
Up one. Okay. Just seeing if you guys are paying attention, that's all. That's it. Okay. There you go. Sorry. Then we got to say translation, right? Translate. We're going to translate what? How we describe that translation?
Parentheses, -6.
Let's just give the explanation. If you wanted to give yours, you could. It would be x comma y. X minus 6 comma what?
0.
Just y. No, nothing on the plus 0. Whatever. So we're going to shift them all down. If we shift them all down by 6, we should get. Is this easy or hard to do? Okay, easy. Now, when we're given something else besides this, we're going to kind of show you the tips and tricks of how to do these. It's important that we're able to do it. Yes. I refer to the down one as 6. Yes, you're absolutely right. I made a boo-boo on that. Good job. Here we go. Let's look at the next one. Can you guys tell me what we're doing with this one? I would say something even more simpler than that. Reflection. Dilation. A reflection to dilation. Now, before I kind of go on, are we going small to big or big to small? Small to big, so it should be a enlargement. Enlargement. So you got to be able to read the context of the problem in order for you to determine whether you're reflecting or which image you're going to. So in this case, we're going to go from 1 to 2. Okay. What's probably the first thing we got to do here? Reflection. So let's reflect it. So step 1, a reflection, and we call it a what? Across what? Across x-axis. I don't think I'm going to give you guys any rotations, just because we need the patty paper and they super extra. I want to just be able to do these ones. Be happy. Done. Okay, we're going to reflect it. So let's reflect our image. I'm going to go nowhere for A, so this will still be A prime. I'm going to go down 2 for B, which would be B double prime, or B prime. C is going to go down 1, and D is going to remain the same. Boom, boom. This is not, we're not done yet. This is just our beginning. Now with these ones, because we have to perform a dilation, we want to be able to at least write out a couple of our points, right? We got to be able to see how much this is. Now, we could do it that way by writing it down and trying to find the scale factor. It would be possible for us to do that. I'm going to show you guys a different way of doing it, and you can definitely do this as well. The second transformation is a what? Dilation. We definitely know it's an enlargement, so we're going to write dilation, enlargement, by what? We need to find out how big it's going to be. But we want to be able to look at two different ways. Now, the way that you can do this is two different ways. What 2 points can we use to find this out? B and D? No, those are two not the same. A and D? A and D's fine. That's the same one. A, oh no, you guys are killing me here. Let's match these up. D is going to go with what point? On the other triangle? H. So let's write down these points. D prime is going to be 2, 0. H prime is, or H is just going to be what? 4, 0. Now, how do we find these? How do we find the scale factor? Image over pre-image. So image over pre-image. So what is my image point? 4. What is my image?
2.
Or my pre-image? 2. So we're going to get just 2. 2 is my scale factor. That's one way you can do it. The other way is, check this out. The other way is doing the same thing. Let's look at the image sides. Let's look at HG. What is the length of HG? HG. It's 2. That's one of them. We can do the same thing to find the length. So this length right here is 2. What side does that correspond to? DC, right? Which is what? So it's still, you can. So we can see the ones that correspond. This is still 2 to 1. Even this side, the length right here is 4 to 2, which is still 2. So whatever side you want to do to use. Okay. Here we go. Is this kind of being more clear? Is this a little bit getting a little easier? Okay. Let's try this next one out. This one's a little bit more trickier. This is more trickier, so copy this. Look at what we have here. What is it asking us to do? Think about it. PQRS to TUV. So we're going from 1 to 2. Ooh. We don't have to do 4 steps. Check it out. 2. How do we do? Reflection dilation. Close. Dilation, reflection. Let's go reverse. Let's see how it's going to look reverse. So if we go backwards, let's say we did it reverse way. Let's say we did it the other way, and we went backwards. We would go reflection to dilation. So let's see what that works. If I were to make the same image across here, it's going to go here, right? This is that intermediate image that we need to look for. And we can still write that one out. It's okay for us to write it out. We're still going to have this as U prime, V prime, W prime, and T. So we still, that's going to be easier, right? Because we can dilate it, then we can flip it. Or if you look at it, we can flip it, then dilate it. So it's almost the same thing. We just got to go in reverse. So let's just look at this way. We did the pre-image. Let's see how we can kind of map this out. The first thing we want to make sure that this is going to be a good dilation. And we can check that by going through our points. U goes through Q pretty nicely. V goes through R pretty nicely. T goes through P pretty nicely. And W goes through S. You guys don't need to put these in. Don't put these in. Don't put them in. But this is a good dilation. So let's just say we're going to go from this one to this one for a dilation. So we're going to say dilate, and I'm only putting this on there because I just want you guys to think outside the box. I'm going to give you one that's pretty straightforward, right? That is like the previous two that we've done, right? So I'm not going to confuse you. I'd rather have simple, easy answers than how do we go back? I'm just asking you to apply them. So we're going to say dilation. Is it a reduction or enlargement? Reduction. We're going backwards. Reduction. What should that what should that fraction give me? It should give you a fraction, right? It's small between 0 and 1. So in this case, let's just choose 2 points, or in this case, choose the sides. I'm going to go from this length, which is what? 3, to this length, which is 1. So my image, so I'm going to reduce over pre-image is going to be 1 over 3. So 1/3. You can either do this long side too. This long side is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6. 2 are 2. This is going to be 2 over or 1/3 again. So no matter which one you choose, it's going to give you the same thing. So we're going to be okay with that. We know it's a good dilation. We know we had the same scale factor. What would happen if they didn't? Are they similar? No. Not similar, can't be done. Done. Okay, so we found that it's a dilation by 1/3, and then what do we have to do? What do we have to do? What's our second transformation? Reflect. Reflection, what do we call it a reflection of? Over, across, y-axis. And I'm just going to kind of label that for you guys. So we're going to reflect it. Our final image is going to be here. Across our y-axis here. Good stuff? Yeah? We're going to skip this next one. Cross out the trapezoid, the quadrilateral one. The bottom one to the left. So we're going to skip this next one. I just don't like how it's done. And the points don't really look nice for us, so we're going to skip it. If we do have to discuss it, though, just discuss this one real quick. What would be a good way to do this one? Dilation to translation. I would have done reflection, so I would have reflected this image over like this, and then dilated it up. That would also be possible. But let's just skip this one. I don't like how it's done, so I'm not going to do this one. Here's our last one for this. How much more time do we got? 15 minutes? Okay. We're just going to be quick. Do me a favor, try this one. Try this one. What'd you guys get for this one? Mind you, we got to be able to read the triangle, so we're going from CED to CBA. Are we going bigger to smaller? Big to small. So think about how you would do that, what it would look like. What are the terms? How would we describe that transformation? The sequence of transformations for this type of problem. What would it look like for you? I think this one's very doable. This one's very doable, right? Good. Consensus say what's probably the first thing we should do? Reflection. Reflection across y-axis. Beautiful. So we're going to say y-axis reflection. Going to be here. And then we got to reflect it. So there's going to be these points. And we're going to be given E prime and D prime. And then what should we do from here? Dilation. Reduction. Beautiful. Reduction. By what? 1/2. How did we get that? How did you guys get the reduction?
What I did was I counted the lines between CB and then CE.
CB and CE.
And C
So CB was what?
2, and then CE would be 4, and then you put 2/4, and then I'll reduct to 1/2.
AB and D. I'm going to show you guys those two. So this is 1/2. The other way you probably could have done it is done AB, which is 1, and DE, which is 2. So it's still 1/2. How do you guys feel more confident about this stuff? Good. That's the end of it. Oh yeah. Gotta give you guys some work to do.